Did Eric Adams and the police chief really sell promotions for $15,000? Well, this is New York City. Did the ex-police chief really exchange overtime for sex? Well, that's what one female cop said, and first off, the woman who said she was extorted or sextorted for overtime made $164,000 in salary in 2023, but with overtime, she made $400,000. Like, how many times did she... Can you really say that you got extorted if you're the one that got paid? I mean, she said she was coerced, but yeah, you could probably coerce most people for nearly $500,000. And I don't mean to take away from her claim, but she was also the NYPD's top earning officer, and she only threatened legal action about this extortion after the NYPD demanded that she pay back over $200,000 of that overtime money. Suspicious. But let's talk about the police commissioners of Eric Adams. Mr. Hookah Lounge every night. Mr. Give Diddy the key to the damn city. Mr.
I'm the mayor of the most powerful city on the globe.
So in the aftermath of him beating the feds, several lawsuits have come out involving him and his inner circle. We got allegations that the former police chief was selling promotions for $15,000 to make sure that only allies of Eric and himself made it up the ladder, and the very suspicious fact that every police commissioner during Adams' tenure as mayor have stepped down after only a year at the post. For reference, under the previous mayor, each commissioner served 2 years, and under Michael Bloomberg, the NYPD had the same commissioner for 12 years. So what's going on? I've covered the extensive corruption in both New York City and New York State, but much like in Chicago and LA, there's always something new. But nobody takes Eric Adams serious.
Cardi B está aquí para hablarte sobre tus deberes cívicos en el 2020.
And the NYPD is, well, the NYPD. So, Edward Caban was the commissioner who pretty much made misconduct more acceptable because there used to be punishment for cops doing things like using offensive language, failing to take civilian complaints, and unlawful searches, but again, this is New York City. Yeah, in some situations, things like this should be taken seriously, but surely not all of them require action, like foul language. I have never heard a cop not use foul language, but maybe that's just because I'm from Chicago. But it could be a lot worse in New York. They could have the LAPD.
Very, very poor job of it right there. LAPD coming to a stop. Oh, come on, guys. He's right there. The officer's running right by him.
This the LAPD. We the most hated cops in all the free world. My own mama shame on me. She tell everybody I'm a drug dealer.
And besides that, we know that the NYPD had to lower their hiring standards just to keep the numbers up. This guy, who was the nephew of the woman who got the $400,000 in overtime, slapped a recruit while they were both in the academy, but they couldn't just fire him because they need help. But yeah, as far as the lawsuits, this lady, who was the internal affairs investigator, was fired by Adams' first commissioner in 2022, probably because of the very nature of her job. And then this lady, who was the NYPD attorney for the Bronx, says that she was fired by Adams' second commissioner when she accused the sex for overtime police chief of abusing his authority and letting a retired cop off the hook for chasing a group of teenagers with a gun. So as the result of both of these firings, the first lady is now representing the second lady in court for her lawsuit. And the attorney even claimed that she was told by the commissioner that it wasn't appropriate to discipline someone that he personally knew. Anyway, he stepped down after the FBI raided his home, which is completely not suspicious, and he's the second commissioner in a row to have his house raided by the FBI. And these last two raids led to a very wealthy woman becoming the new and also current police commissioner. Now, with the allegations of nepotism and being able to pay your way up the ranks in the city, I was definitely surprised to learn that the current commissioner, Jessica Tisch, who has pretty much been near the top in law enforcement for the past decade, was also the daughter of the Lowe's CEO. And I'm not talking about the Lowe's that your dad goes to before he starts a backyard project. This is a completely different conglomerate. In the 80s, her grandfather owned a significant portion of CBS. They own a gas pipeline and several luxury hotels, including a 5-star hotel on Park Avenue in New York. And her mother, the daughter of a Jewish rabbi, was the chancellor of the Board of Regents of the University of the State of New York. Man, what a stupid name. But it's not a stupid board, as they are responsible for supervising all educational activities in the state. This is also a board that the governor, the lieutenant governor, the secretary of state, the attorney general, the speaker of the assembly, as well as the mayors of NYC and Albany all sit on. And her mother was the chancellor of this board, meaning that above all the government officials, she was the leader. She even almost ran for mayor, and she probably would have won. And I kid you not, the New Yorker named her as a candidate that would uphold plutocratic principles, which plutocratic means a society ruled or controlled by very wealthy people, which the new name for this should just be reality. So this new commissioner's appointment is rather suspicious to me. She is the first person to be appointed police commissioner in New York City that was not either a former cop, FBI, or DEA agent since 1966. Just think about that. Since 1966, there has not been a single police commissioner that was not either a cop, FBI agent, or DEA agent until her. But being a billionaire, she could definitely afford the bribe that the Adams administration allegedly demands for a promotion.
Now, the most serious allegations coming from within the police department against the city are those of Thomas Donlon. Now, Donlon is a former FBI special agent, and in his lawsuit, he claims that Mayor Adams is responsible for everything the feds originally charged him with, including fraud, obstruction of justice, and being at the head of a criminal conspiracy. And remember, it's not like Adams actually beat the FBI. Donald Trump had the Justice Department drop the case, allegedly in exchange for him being more cooperative with the immigration enforcement. Although either this part isn't true or Adams just doesn't care because the Justice Department is actually suing New York City now for challenging the sanctuary city laws. But regardless, the Justice Department believed that Eric Adams was guilty of corruption as the mayor of New York City, and they still dropped the case before it even went to trial, meaning that it must not actually matter if he's corrupt or not, at least to the federal government. And if that doesn't matter, then of course a police chief will feel completely comfortable having people bribe him for a promotion. If this was already going on, then they already got away with it. And listen, if you want to pay $15,000 for a promotion that will lead to you earning more money in the future, sure, I guess, invest in yourself. But this is bad if it makes it harder for other officers to actually get a promotion. Like, there's always going to be some unethical situation in the police department and city government, but if I was a cop, could I get on a payment plan for that $15,000? I'm just saying, because then it will be fair. If the Federal Justice Department of the United States doesn't care, then hey, if I'm just a regular beat cop in Brooklyn or something, this is way above my pay grade. I'd be in the captain's office like, hey, I'll give you $300 today and another $3 when I get paid. Let me get that sergeant stripe, Cap. Come on, man, you know I'm good for it. And it makes sense why only people who were fired are the ones filing the lawsuits, because they got kicked out of the system. It's not fun anymore for them. And I'm not saying I think the former FBI special agent is lying. I just think that according to what he said himself, he already knew what was going on. And he kind of came out of nowhere too. He was running a security firm when he got appointed as commissioner. He wasn't a cop, and he was already retired from the FBI. But his appointment was only temporary until the billionaire came in. This could truly be the side plot to a Batman movie. Will Eric Adams be defeated in the upcoming election? Well, the other guy is completely against Israel and says Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested if he ever sets foot in New York City, so I'm just being honest. You know, like I know, that is probably the biggest thing against him as far as holding a huge office in the United States. The Republicans and Democrats might be divided on a lot of things, but if you look into every House vote, one thing that almost always gets passed unanimously by both sides is sending money to Israel, so you can come to your own conclusion on that. He might win, or Eric Adams is going to go on a two-peat. Either way, New York will still be New York. But thanks for watching as always, guys, and I'll see you next time.